Hi everyone, today we're going to go through what you can actually eat. So it is a very confusing topic. There is a lot of information out there. A lot of people, where a certain nutrition approach has helped them, and then potentially they've gone and researched that approach to the nth degree. So there can be a lot of confirmation biases out there where people are just really trying to sell or promote or talk about what's worked for them individually. But the thing is, we're all actually very different. So let's go through what I think the best approach is. Hopefully some of this resonates with you and you get something out of this video. So the first one would be, I'll just stand over here. We're all very individual and we all come from different ancestral backgrounds. And I personally think our digestive system has evolved and adapted to what our backgrounds were. So for example, Eskimos grew up in an environment where they were just really heavy protein and fat. And that's what they survived on. There was a little bit of algae on rocks, they had a few berries in the summer, but their digestive systems really evolved to function optimally for their environment. Now, at the same time, historically there were tribes and societies that were a lot more inland, so not so close to the ocean, where there might have been a little bit less protein and fat available in terms of seafood. And they had to sort of really work with their surroundings and adapt to their surroundings. So a good example of that was inland Aboriginals. And there was a guy called Weston who traveled the world in the 30s to different tribes. One of them being inland Aboriginals, and actually found that they had a lot of root vegetables. They also did have some animal foods in there, but from what I interpreted, probably a little bit more carbohydrate dominant than protein dominant, and vice versa for the Eskimos. So I think ancestrally can play a big part. The other thing that can play a part is stress, so modern day stress or conscious stress. So in general, if you're more stressed, you generally might gravitate more towards protein and fat. So why is that? Well, your body is just kind of ramping up, like it's really ramping up, and the protein and fat can take some time to digest and assimilate to your body, and it just helps slow your body down a little bit, really engaging in that rest and digest part of your nervous system. So it can act a little bit on stress. At the same time, some people I've even seen gravitate towards carbohydrates when they're stressed. They're just pumping on cortisol, a lot of anxiety, and then they're just addicted to that anxious feeling, and then the carbohydrates can actually exacerbate that. The next one would be physical activity. So in general, people that are doing more strength-based stuff will gravitate more towards your protein sort of fat. And then people doing more endurance type work generally go more towards carbohydrates. And what you'll find is that the personality of the person, where they just really love like those long distance events, or someone might really love that short, sharp stuff, that can be a really good indication of, are they a little bit more carbohydrate dominant or a little bit more protein fat dominant. The next one as well is weather. So again, throughout the whole year, there's different seasons, and in the winter, we generally gravitate more towards a little bit more protein and fat. Helps us keep a little bit more warm. And then in the summer, people might generally gravitate a little bit more towards carbohydrates. Finally, I've got a point here around menstrual cycle. So females leading into menstruation generally might crave carbohydrates a little bit more for a little bit more energy, and then very soon after menstruation gravitate more towards protein and fat to replenish your stores. So in general, I think people are a little bit more carbohydrate dominant with protein and fat as well, or a little bit more protein dominant with a little bit of carbohydrates as well, or somewhere in the middle. So everyone's constitution and requirements are really, really different. So how do we know what's working for you? So there's a few different indications. So the first one would be your moods and your energy levels. So if you're feeling constantly low on energy, that can be an indication that just that balance is a little bit off. Another indication can actually be satiety. So ideally after each meal and snack, you should be able to last at least 3 hours unless you've purposely or intentionally sort of had a smaller meal to get you through the next one. So if you're having a good quality meal, you should be able to last 3 hours without feeling too hungry. That is an excellent feedback mechanism of whether you have the right mixture of protein, carbohydrate, and fat. Another thing that can be a good indication is sleep quality. So if you're having the wrong mix of protein, carbohydrate, and fat, that can throw off your blood sugar levels, okay? And then while you're sleeping, that can throw off your blood sugar levels, which can actually trigger a cortisol response, which can wake people up. So many times I've coached people, I've brought in regular meals and snacks to suit their particular constitution, the right protein, carbohydrate, fat, to help suit their particular constitution. And many times I've seen people get a better night's sleep. And then the final one around a good indication is just general results. You know, are you putting on a lot of body fat with your current diet? Are you feeling good? Are you injury prone? Just those kind of things. And I know there can be a lot of factors to the examples I just gave, but this can be one example of what's working for you. Okay? So how do you know if you're on the right track? A diet diary can be really good, where you just write down what you had, and then see how long you're lasting, and almost rate your energy levels as well. Now, energy can be a number of contributing factors. We're just talking about nutrition here, okay? So diet diary can be really helpful. The other thing that can be really helpful is questionnaires. I personally use a modified questionnaire from a book called The Metabolic Typing Diet by Wolcott, which just goes into, what might suit your individual needs best. So hopefully that helps. Just a few little pointers on what the right nutrition is. I might actually just add a little bit more to that as well, where ideally you want to have high quality food to get a good feedback on these indications. So organic where you can, and just sticking to some of the basic food groups. So your animal food, your vegetables, your fruit, your nuts, your seeds, your legumes. You can't really go wrong with those kind of guys, okay? So this time I will sign off and say, hopefully that helped. Just a little picture of, what might be the right nutrition for you. And if you want any help with anything around nutrition or any other health goals, feel free to let me know and get in touch. All right, thank you. Bye.